Hey, we're the Sheepdogs, and we are your Record Store Day Canada 2018 champions. And we're here to talk to you about vinyl. We are big fans. We started our band way back in 2004. Around that time, I had helped my friend, his family, to move, and as a favor, or as a thank you, his family said I could help myself to whatever records I wanted from their collection, and thus I began what became this. And the first record I got from that collection was the Beatles, the White Album. It's one of the originals that has the embossed number right on the front. Famously, John Lennon had copy number 1. Seamus, what do you got there?
Oh, this is Donny Hathaway's Everything is Everything. And it's an important record for me because when I first moved to Toronto, way back in 2009, I was just getting into vinyl. It's a bit of a late bloomer, by your guys' standards. But
You're younger, yeah.
Yeah. And I always enjoyed going to a lot of the local Toronto record stores. Cops Records was a favorite. And I picked this up and listened to it a lot. And it sort of taught me a lot about playing some good R&B piano and how to write a good soul song.
Great.
Thanks, Donnie. Thanks for the vinyl.
Ryan, do you like vinyl?
I happen to like vinyl as well. And the first record I ever got, before I even had a turntable as well, is Paul's Boutique by the Beastie Boys.
Great
I was
record.
a huge Beastie Boys fan, and I saw it in a record store. I was probably in there buying CDs, and I thought, oh man, that'd be so cool to own this on vinyl. So I bought it, and that kind of started me down the road of eventually getting a turntable, or getting my dad's old turntable out and setting it up, and ended up getting my dad's record collection, which I think a lot of people, as they, their parents recognize they're getting into vinyl, are like, here, have our records. And I discovered that my dad is maybe one of the biggest Boz Scaggs fans. No idea, never heard him listen to Boz Scaggs, but he had every single Boz Scaggs record. An interesting part about vinyl is that, as in my situation, it was something that me and my dad could talk about, that, was something that he was into when he was a young man, and as me when I was a young man, getting into it, he was really excited to talk about it. So that was a really cool part of that too. So that has also expanded into much more records.
Another big part of record collecting that's fun for us is the hunt, the search for for new records, and a big part of that comes into play when we're on the road, when we're touring. We get a chance to visit lots of little mom and pop shops all over the world, not just in Canada or America, but also in Europe. One of my favorite stores is in Austin, Texas. It's End of an Ear, and I like it so much that I buy a cloth bag every time I go back there, and even though I don't use them, I just like them. Certainly, when we're on the road hunting for new vinyl, that is one of the favorite touring activities, right?
Yeah, I think one of the best things about traveling around is seeing all the regional differences that you'll get in all the various record stores you'll go to. Like down south, you might find a few more soul records than you would up here in Canada. Or out west, maybe some more good country records and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
It's really a good way to get to know the landscape of the country through music.
I mean, one of the fun parts about coming home from tour is the fact that, traveling around, you don't have a turntable, you get home with this big stack of records, and you finally get home, you finally sit down, and you just listen to music, and it's kind of a fun thing. And so sometimes those are records that I don't even know what they're going to sound like because you've never heard them before and somebody recommended it to you, or someone at a store recommended it, or you just like the look of the cover. I mean, I bought lots of records, right? So it's cool guys and a cool cover. So
These dudes look sweet.
Yeah, it's like there's 9 times out of 10 sweet looking dudes also make sweet music.
I like when you're at a record store and you've got your stack that you take up, and the guys or the gals checking through it, and they're like, oh man, good choice, good choice, good choice. Have you heard this one over here? And then they add that because they can tell that you're into this type of stuff, and they throw in a recommendation your way. That doesn't happen at your chain kind of stores. So
a record store is one of the few kind of old school kind of places you can go where it's kind of always been the same. It's like somebody who really loves music telling you about something they really love, and talking about those things. You don't really get that anymore. You don't get that buying records online, although I definitely buy lots of records online too. But there's something to be said about the whole process of going in and being surrounded by like-minded people, at least in the sense that you all love music. And I think that's something that makes record stores very special.
For musicians, one of the most exciting parts of making a record is when you finally get to hold the record in your hand. And I'm not talking about getting the CD or having the finished audio files to listen to. I'm talking about holding this thing here, this vinyl. Beautiful artwork that you've looked at a horrible computer screen trying to decide how to make it look good, and then you finally get to hold it in your hands and you can open it up and just take a look It just looks beautiful. It's tangible. It's a piece of art. You know, you can see our beautiful faces in there, and you know, it feels, you know, amazing. And you can, the record sleeves has design on them. It's a real substantial piece. This one has crazy colors.
I think one of the best things about, you know, having worked on a record for a while and worked in the studio, and when you finally get to listen to it on your home stereo and listen to it, you know, you put all this work into this, and you get to just put it on the turntable, drop the needle on it, and just finally hear what it sounds like in your stereo. It's kind of a magical thing.
It's amazing. That's great. Also, as part of Record Store Day Canada 2018, we have a few releases to tell you about. First of all, we have a 7-inch of us playing 2 songs live from our newest record, Changing Colors. And we're also excited to tell you that we are releasing our first 2 albums we ever made on vinyl for the first time. That is the Sheepdogs' Big Stand and our debut, Trying to Grow, for the first time ever on vinyl. At the time that we made those records, we couldn't afford to cut the vinyl, and vinyl was still kind of just coming back at that time. As I said, it was a weird time of a lot of horrible sounding downloads and CDs, but we're very excited that for the first time ever, the Sheepdogs' Big Stand and Trying to Grow, our debut, will be available on vinyl for Record Store Day 2018.
The time is right.
Mm-hmm.
The time is now. We're the Sheepdogs. We're your Record Store Day Canada 2018 champions. Get listening, get hunting, and hope you dig the vinyl.
All right.
Hell yeah.